Welcome to this recording of Developing Personality. This enlightening discourse was originally delivered by Paramahansa Yogananda at the Self-Realization Fellowship International Headquarters in Los Angeles, California, on October 28, 1938. We are honored to share his divine insights and timeless wisdom with you today. Personality and its development are generally considered only in the light of realizing some material goal, such as increasing one's business or social opportunities. The real nature of personality is rarely analyzed. What, essentially, is personality? It is the ego consciousness, not ego in the sense of inflated pride, but as the consciousness of existence. Each one of us knows, I exist. Further, we are conscious of existing in a certain way, as a man or a woman, and with certain characteristic qualities. We think about ourselves in terms of our individual background, experiences, and environment. A housekeeper thinks of herself as a housekeeper. A lecturer thinks of himself as a lecturer. A scientist thinks of himself as a scientist. Yet when they are asleep, they forget their daytime activities. In sleep, the consciousness of existence remains, though the egoistic concept of the wakeful personality may fade away entirely. But as soon as one awakens, he remembers and becomes reassociated with his environmental identity. Therefore, the personality a man displays in his wakeful hours is merely a cultivated and partial individuality. The consciousness of existence is fundamentally a universal, unlimited state, but it becomes more or less bound by the personality traits that we hold to from day to day. Eventually, we forget that our individual qualities can be expanded or contracted according to our behavior. Whence does our true personality derive? It comes from God. He is absolute consciousness, absolute existence, and absolute bliss. The Creator knows that He exists. He also knows that His existence is eternal, and that His nature is ever-new bliss. With the human mind, we cannot know the infinite mind or perceive what ineffable spirit is, but through the superconsciousness of the soul, we can taste the divine presence as bliss. The joy we receive from any experience flows from God, even though it may have been roused by some outward circumstance. By concentrating within, you can directly feel the divine bliss of your soul within and also without. If you can stabilize yourself in that consciousness, your outer personality will develop and become attractive to all beings. The soul is made in God's image, and when we become established in soul awareness, our personality begins to reflect His goodness and beauty. That is your real personality. Any other characteristics you display are more or less a graft. They are not the real you. The divine man, living in the cosmic consciousness of God, can assume any kind of outer personality he wishes. When I am conscious of my human personality, I have limitations, but as soon as I change my consciousness to the soul sphere, I see everything just as if it were a motion picture. A person concentrating on the beam by which images are shown on a movie screen can see that all those figures are scintillating by the current of light emanating from the projector. In the same way, I see the world and all its creatures solely as the projected thoughts of God. Concentrate on matter, and you see everything in terms of matter. But as soon as you lift up your consciousness to the state of divine awareness, you see the oceanic current of God's light flowing behind all matter. You see everything in terms of spirit. Though the unity of God is reflected in everything, it appears diversified in cosmic nature. His creative life flows throughout the earth. Put a seed in the ground and it begins to grow. Metals express a certain power and beauty of God. In the vegetable kingdom, He changes His personality again. The active expression of life is more visible in plants. Still, a study of creation reveals that every metal, every plant, every animal has a distinctive personality, and in man, we find an even more expanded individuality. For man knows that he is a living, conscious being. But all these different personalities have been borrowed from God. He is the only life. O Arjuna, I am the self in the heart of all creatures. I am their origin, existence, and finality. Thus the Lord describes himself in the Gita. And in the Bible, we read his declaration, "I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty." Intuition develops one's true personality. Our soul intuition is a faculty of God. He has no mouth, yet he tastes everything. He has no hands or feet, yet he feels the whole universe. How? By intuition, by his omnipresence. Man ordinarily relies upon his senses to supply him with information about himself and the world in which he lives. His mind doesn't know anything except what his five senses tell him. But the Superman relies upon intuition, his sixth sense, for knowledge. Intuition doesn't depend on the senses or the power of inference for its data. For example, you feel certain that something is going to happen, and it does happen exactly as you foresaw it. Each one of you has probably had some such experience. How did you know without any inferential or sense data? That direct knowing is the soul's power of intuition. The ancient Indian sage Patanjali tells us that scriptural authority is not in itself proof of truth. How then can you know that the Bible and the Gita are true? The data relayed by the senses and the power of inference cannot give final proof. Truth is ultimately understood or proved solely by intuition, soul realization. Your true personality begins to develop when you are able, by deep intuition, to feel that you are not this solid body, but are the divine eternal current of life and consciousness within the body. That is how Jesus could walk on the water. He realized that everything is composed of the consciousness of God. Human personality can be changed to divine personality. Banish the consciousness that you are a bundle of flesh and bones. Every night, God makes you forget that delusion, but as soon as you wake up, you are back again in the seeming confinements of the body. A person of strong mind can be whatever he wants to be. The limited human personality can be greatly expanded by meditation. When you close your eyes and feel the vastness of the soul within you, and when you can make that consciousness enduring, then you will have the personality that God intended you should have. The experience of the wakeful state has become predominant in your consciousness. But at the time of deep sleep, when man is granted freedom from the limitations of the flesh, you are in touch with truth, with your real personality. Your attitude changes with the subconscious and superconscious realization. I am infinite. I am a part of everything. As your consciousness expands with divine understanding, your personality becomes increasingly attractive and powerful. When your character grows in a spiritual way, you can assume almost any shade of personality you desire. Mind is illimitable, and as you develop spiritually and your inner life becomes separate from body consciousness, you no longer feel any egoistic attachment to the flesh. You are aware of ineffable freedom. You shouldn't identify yourself as any particular type of individual. Rather, be able to change your personality whenever you want to. I have done many different things in my life, just for the fun of it. I have invested money. I have done the work of a musician, of a contractor, of a cook. Truly, you can accomplish anything if you do not accept limitations by identifying yourself with your present personality. When you say to me that you can't do this or that, I don't believe it. Whatever you make up your mind to do, you can do. God is the sum total of everything, and His image is within you. He can do anything, and so can you, if you learn to identify yourself with His inexhaustible nature. No matter if you have health and wealth and everything else you want of the world, still there will always be some disillusion that will bring grief. Nothing of the earth is lasting. Only God is lasting. When you develop the individuality that is an expression of His presence within you, which is your true self, you will be able to attract anything you want. Any other personality you try to develop, whether that of an artist or a businessman or a writer, will bring disenchantment in its wake, because all human expressions have their limitations. You may go after success or money or fame and achieve it, but always some flaw, lack of health or insufficient love or something else, will hurt you. the best course is to pray. Lord, make me happy with awareness of Thee. Give me freedom from all earthly desires, and above all, give me Thy joy that outlasts all the happy and sad experiences of life. Remember that as a child of God, you are endowed with greater strength than you will ever need to overcome all the trials that God may send you. Often we continue to suffer without making an effort to change. That is why we don't find lasting peace and contentment. If we would persevere, we would certainly be able to conquer all difficulties. We must make the effort that we may go from misery to happiness, from despondency to courage. It is necessary first to feel the importance of changing our condition. This attitude stimulates our will to action. Let us resolve that we will always make an effort to improve our self-knowledge and thus continuously better our existence. India's spiritual scientists explored the kingdom of the soul. They have given to mankind for its benefit certain universal laws of meditation by which real seekers, those who wish to find a good life by changing themselves, may scientifically control their minds and attain self-realization. When you develop your divine nature, you become completely detached about the body. You no longer feel identified with it. You look after it as you would attend to a little child. As you realize your true self more and more, by meditation, you become freed from mental and physical pains. You cast off your lifelong limitations. That is the best way to live out your days on earth. Awaken your divine personality. Remember that it is not harmful to own things, but it is harmful to be owned by them. It is difficult to have the right balance. Struggling too hard for money, you may neglect your health. You will find that everything will betray you if you betray your loyalty to God. So let not one drop of oil fall from the lamp of your attention in the sanctuary of inner silence as you meditate each day and as you carefully perform your duties in the world. That is the personality you want to develop, dutiful in carrying out your obligations in life, but aware that your real home lies within. What is the use of developing a personality based on worldly values, which are ever changeful and fleeting? Rather, strive for a personality that is derived from your living in the continuous consciousness of God. Bhagavan Krishna said, "When a man completely relinquishes all desires of the mind and is entirely contented in the self, by the self, he is then considered to be one settled in wisdom." Awaken that meek yet thunderous divine personality, strong as the lion, gentle as the dove. When you make up your mind that you will meditate and follow this path, nothing will be able to take you away from it. Perform your worldly tasks faithfully without forgetting for a moment your highest duty to God. As we conclude this discourse on developing personality, let us remember Paramahansa Yogananda's insightful teachings. Our true personality is not bound by worldly traits, but derives from the divine consciousness within us. By cultivating our connection with God through meditation and intuition, we can awaken our real, unlimited nature. In striving for material goals, let us never forget that our greatest achievement lies in realizing our oneness with God, the source of all wisdom and joy. Thank you for joining us, and may divine blessings guide you always.